Section B focuses on two of the four solution methods in the Readiness TEKS 8A. Using the zero product property by setting factors equal to 0 and by taking the square root of both sides of an equation. The lessons also reinforce the use of graphing to identify the zeros of a quadratic equation as a method for solving. In this way, students link the ideas of zeros with the solution of linear factors. An instructional suggestion that I have is that the most important pieces of the lessons to emphasize are usually found in the second activities of each lesson. For instance, in Lesson 3, Activity 2, students learn to recognize pairs of solutions by taking the square roots of both sides of a simplistic equation. Then, in Lesson 4, Activity 2, the zero product property is fully defined and used to solve quadratic equations given in factored form. And in Lesson 5, Activity 2, students use graphing to relate the zeros of the graph to the solutions of the equation. The lesson also highlights the occurrence of double roots. Next, in Lesson 9, Activity 2, students factor more difficult quadratic equations and use the zero product property for trinomials where the leading coefficient equals 1. And finally, in Lesson 10, Activity 2, students face factoring where the leading coefficient of the quadratic expression is not equal to 1. And then they use the zero product property. Of special note are Lessons 6, 7, and 8. These lessons review students' understanding about how to multiply binomials and then factor them. In these lessons, students tie back to using the box method that was first introduced in Unit 6. They also review how to factor perfect square trinomials and the difference of two squares before solving them as a special type of quadratic equation. If students do not need factoring refresher, these lessons can be minimized for time. In my classroom, I would spend most of my time in the second parts of Lessons 3, 4, 5, 9, and 10. And I would also spend extra time in Lesson 12. So let's move on to Section C.